Welcome to AutoSave. I'm Camille Salazar-Hadaway with my co-host, Mr. Nick Andrade. Hello.
How you doing? How you feeling after a nice vacation that you went on?
I am doing good. I am happy to have clean drinking water, but that's a story for another time.
Oh, God.
Anyways.
Okay. Maybe it's our Patreon episode. We can talk about it.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that. But on this week's episode, we're not talking about the drinking water in Midgard. No, we are talking about God of War PS4 and continuing our journey to the top of the mountain to spread our wife's ashes. On last week's episode...
Brother, look out!
Miss me.
Run, boy! Cross the bridge!
No! I'm a god too! I can do this! Get off him!
Really?
Baldur, let him go! Take me instead! I'll do whatever you...
Shut up! All this time I thought I needed you! But you're just meat. Turns out the boy is the brains.
Really? Atreus, really. So pretty much Atreus killed Modi and kind of was being a brat, as you heard there. Yeah, I'm a god. So what? There are so many gods, okay? In Norse mythology. Get over it. Baldur found us and had an epic fight on top of a dragon. That was pretty cool. We found out Freya is Baldur's mother. Didn't trust her. Atreus saw the vision of Kratos killing Zeus, and, the real truth came out. And we find another way to Jotunheim that revolves around Mimir's eye. But we need to make a key that's made by a dwarf, which is where we left off. And luckily for us, we know a couple of dwarves, so I'm pretty sure we'll probably see them throughout this episode. On today's episode, this is episode 8, and we cover chapter 13, On the Path to Jotunheim, and chapter 14, Between the Realms. We're getting close to the home stretch of the game. We're getting close to that ending. How is it going to end? Is Atreus going to continue being a brat? But that's questions for as we continue the journey.
Yes.
Today's question is about, and let me just preface this question by saying I am not the one who thought of this question.
Yeah.
This was thought of by Mr. Nick Andrade. The question of the day is, who is the most attractive being in this God of War game so far? I mentioned dwarfs, so we have Sindri and Brock, Freya, Mimir, Modi, Magni, Baldur, and of course, the God of War himself, Kratos. So, Nick, let's start off with your answer. Who is the most attractive?
First of all, this spun me off into more questions of the day, where I think I made one already up for next episode, which I think is more hilarious. But obviously, I have a crush on Freya, and it reminds me back of Lady Hellbender days, where it's just like a strong female character who doesn't take shit from nobody, and maybe I lean into that a little bit. But I'm thinking of in terms, because there's a lot of men in this game and not a lot of female representation in this game. But if I'm looking at the men here, Mimir, he's got this old man beard, he's got a bunch of tattoos and some golden eyes. Maybe you'd fall in love with someone like that. He's got tattoos all over his head. He seems like he would be like a hipster in modern day. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Kind of like, the mall Santa. Here in Toronto, we had this sexy Santa.
Sexy?
Younger, attractive.
Yorkdale Mall Santa.
Younger, attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a model, an older man, but very much GQ vibes, and was Santa Claus, and everyone had a crush on him. So, okay, fine. I could see that with Mimir. Freya, I feel is the obvious choice, which I also second that choice. But I'm going to go with Kratos himself. There's something about a broken man that just makes him so much more attractive. I could fix Kratos.
Oh,
yeah.
Are we getting into were you getting into what our relationships like? It's I think you're gonna fix him.
Yeah, I could. He's hurt. He needs my help. I could help Kratos.
Let me expand on that question then. So, well, who is more attractive, young Kratos with a goatee or full beard?
No, oh gosh,
man
no.
muscle
Full beard.
Kratos here.
Full beard, man muscled Kratos that has some
He's
scars
thick.
on
He's
him.
thick in this.
Yes.
Version.
The younger Kratos was kind of like creepy in some senses, right? Like I'm not much for a goatee. And I think that's just
I don't think many
the
people
one
are.
that,
No.
Yeah, so it just was not for me. But definitely, I love the full beard and the full like. I don't give two craps. I'm broken. I will, So I could Kratos. Hey, I understand he's widowed now, available.
Yes.
Anyway,
This is also but I just want to say about Freya too. It's like if we talked about not trusting her. If I was in this game, I would 1000% trust her to a fault because I would have such a big crush on her that I'd be like, yeah,
gosh.
whatever. Oh, you're Baldur's mom? Like we can work this out. It's all good.
we can work
like,
this
don't worry
out.
about
It's
it.
all right. It's okay that your son's trying to murder me. Well, with all this talk, I feel like we may have to cool down a bit. I'm getting a little hot and heavy over here. So let's take a quick break. All right, welcome back. We've cooled off, and now we're back paying attention to the game and not our dreams that we wish would happen.
Whoa! Nobody said talking about this is our dreams.
I saw the twinkle in your eyes.
twinkle in
Nick.
my eye. Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah,
Fair
know.
enough. Fair enough.
But before we get into our next quest, Kratos still has this vision that he had of Zeus on his mind.
Boy. Before. When you saw.
I didn't see anything.
You did not see me with someone. An old man.
What old man? Can we go?
Yes. Very well.
Say what? Okay, why is Atreus acting like he forgot what he saw, or he actually didn't see what he saw? Because he obviously saw what he saw because he reacted to what he saw in the moment. And now he's just like, is it a situation of like, if your best friend does something bad and they're like, I'm sorry about it. And you're like, wait, I never saw anything and nothing happened because you're trying to make the other person feel good? Or is he just trying to block it from his memory?
I don't think he's trying to block it. I think there's a rhyme to his reason here, but he's been very curious throughout the game. He's wanted answers from Kratos throughout the game. He's been frustrated most of the time with that. But is it because of the whole situation with Baldur, where Kratos was upset with him and says that he basically needs to grow up? Is he now a point where, okay, I'm not going to ask Father what happened here because clearly there's something up with it that's bothering him? I don't want to get into either another fight, or is he traumatized? Yeah. Like he beat up an old man, regardless if he knows that it's his father or not. He beat the crap out of an old man. So
yeah. Wait, doesn't he know it's his father? I feel like he said that's your father.
Oh, did he?
When he was reacting? Maybe I'm wrong, but it's still pretty traumatizing.
No, I don't think so. I just remember his face. His mouth was open.
Oh.
What's happening?
This is scary. I don't want to be a god anymore. But now it's time to head back to Midgar and talk to Brock outside the gate.
Shut your mouth. Is that... Where did you...
I had to get my hands dirty.
Well, don't just stand there. Let's do this.
What? You're fine with working on something that's not a weapon?
Oh, hell, why not? What? I can grow too. Yeah.
Here it is.
Nope. Don't forget this.
Oh, quit your grinning. It's downright unsettling.
It's just nice to see you together. But now the rune on your brand looks different.
Yeah, price of reforging something what broke.
I knew it. You two love each other.
Oh, cut it out, Princess. You're gonna get me all weak.
I like the new one better. Don't you?
We have work to do.
What a sweet moment with the brothers. And then Kratos is like, we have work to do.
What a jerk.
Interrupt this moment. Because I'm Kratos. So Sindri shows up and makes the key with Brock as they kind of make up or mend their relationship, which is wonderful to see. And Kratos seems to care less about this lovey-dovey scene, as I mentioned, but Atreus is genuinely really happy to see the two of them kind of reconcile. Atreus also apologizes to Sindri for getting mad at him earlier. So this is a sweet moment, and like I would say, well, I guess this isn't a good sad moment for Atreus, but it's just a good person moment after he's been really bratty. So that's nice to see.
I think he's learning, especially everything with Baldur. I think he's starting to realize that he needs to act a lot better, and maybe him having a power trip on being a god needs to stop. But it's nice to see. It's like Sindri's like the more delicate brother, and Brock is the more hardline brother, and it's nice to see. We don't really know what happened with them, but it's nice to see that they're working together here at the end, near the end of the game at least. And maybe that means that we can unlock some better gear because of it.
Yeah, maybe. So now it's time to locate Tyr's mysterious door, and that's also on the same path as Tyr's vault. Now there's a lot of Tyr happening, so I'm hoping that we see Tyr a little later, but I doubt it. We insert the key and we open the door, and we find ourselves underneath the realm travel room. Now going through more, we find the Hall of Tyr, and we find the rune of Jotunheim. How'd you find this part, like just going through the doors, the countless doors and unlocking?
I like this whole mystery of Tyr and who he is and what he represents. And, he's obviously trying to hide things from Odin. So I want to see like if we learn more of that relationship at all. But going through these doors and it's like all golden rooms, and it's, I don't know, supposed to test your wit because he's setting away, like we see Kratos and Atreus talk about this, basically how what Tyr is setting up, someone can accomplish, but the right set of people have to accomplish it, right? It's not like he's hiding it from everyone, but he wants someone to find it, but not the wrong person.
Not the wrong person. And, he's setting up these little challenges, and, we see that Kratos finds at the bottom of the room, there are axles, which means that obviously you can flip the temple, so we could get to the rune.
Didn't seem that obvious.
Well, I mean, isn't it? Did you have a hard time with this?
No, I didn't, but like I didn't think that an entire realm room can be flipped.
Oh, okay.
On its
I guess
side.
that's fair. I guess that's fair. But you knew that it was a switch to, have something happen.
Yes.
Okay. So on our way, we have to get through some traps, some enemies, and Kratos has to remove chains from the axles so then he could flip the room upside down, as I mentioned. Now, there are enemies in this room, and they are pretty tough. You have the longsword armor hellwalkers along with spinning fire machines, because why not? I found like this. Okay, because there's like the challenges. I think what I'm learning about myself when I go through games is when there's like the problem solving, I don't want the enemies, if that makes sense. It's just weird. I know.
Like you don't, after you solve a problem, you don't want to then face enemies.
No.
You're saying?
No.
Why?
I rather the enemies right before I have to solve a problem. Because solving problems is sometimes, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just how my brain works. I feel like that's how I enjoy things more.
I can understand that, but these puzzles are in this game, at least, aren't that difficult.
Yeah, but it's still, okay, it's still work, Nick.
Yes,
it's still work.
Yes.
Don't judge me, Nick. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, like, it's not Zelda in terms of, like, has there been a moment in this game where you had to, like, look something up, or, like, it took you forever to figure out? Like, I'm just saying, like, a lot of these puzzles in this game are kind of easy.
Yeah. I guess the only one would be like the rune one with like night,
Yes, the
day.
moon,
That was
yes.
probably the only one.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, other than that, it's pretty okay. I guess you're right. Fine. Whatever. Whatever.
No, I'm not.
Um,
I'm not trying to judge you based on the enemies. I agree with you. I'm just
Thanks
saying.
judging me.
No,
Thanks
I listen.
judging me.
We played Zelda before, okay? Where I am the worst at puzzles. Where I looked at an eye thing that I didn't realize I had to hack and slash with Link in a certain way. Okay, so I feel you. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, fine. Now, the second axle chains, you have to move, and we fight some trolls. Once again, you get those enemies there, and then we do a backflip for the realm room. I like how it's like a backflip. There should be tricks that you could do with the realm room, like
That would be
360.
cool. 360
Backflip.
spin, like. Oh, imagine they had like a random that would obviously not in the lore of God of War, they wouldn't do that, but like Kingdom Hearts and some other games where you can have those fun mini games where you can like get a high score. Imagine that.
Yeah,
was
and you're
in
just
this
like
game.
going up and you're like backflipping it.
Right.
That'd be cool. Anyways, Mimir also explains that if this doesn't work, Tyr will set up for good reason to keep Odin from reaching Jotunheim. And does that mean that we're technically leading Odin there without realizing?
It's what I keep saying. Like, we're doing all these, like, this is textbook. You know, in a movie where the protagonist keeps solving all the, like Indiana Jones, something like that, and they basically, the villains just follow everything that they do and then leads them to what they want. Like, this is exactly where I feel like this is happening.
And they
where,
steal the treasure.
yeah, Odin's been wanting to travel to Jotunheim, and we're basically leading him there by uncovering all of this stuff. And what's the reason? It's not to get some sort of gold or immaculate power. It's to just spread ashes.
We're just trying to spread some ashes. Well, that's all. Just give us a free pass, Odin. We're not trying to upset you. But that does bring up a good point, because we hear about Odin so much. We know he's the big baddie. We have not seen Odin yet.
None. Yeah, nothing.
So it's like maybe this will be the big reveal of like we're going to see Odin and he's going to be like, gotcha.
I've been waiting.
Give me those ashes. Yeah. For some reason, he wants the ashes of your dead wife. Now, on the way back into the realm room, it seems that Atreus is being not as bratty. I think the bratty stage is kind of over.
See that, Mimir? Nobody can do all this alone. All these obstacles. They're just chances to prove we're the ones who can beat them. We may argue. Me and Father, you and Freya, Brock and Sindri. But when we all work together, we do make a good team. And that's Tyr's test. That's why we're gonna make it to Jotunheim.
Do you hear that, brother? Lad's found his equilibrium.
What's that?
He means you speak wisely, Atreus. And that is good to hear.
Look at him, starting to grow up. Did Kratos finally get through to him after all? Like, I mean, Atreus was really bratty. Or was it, we mentioned that he might have been traumatized from seeing that vision with Zeus. Do you think that's what did it for him?
That's a good question. I think he realized that he messed up. And so he maybe is trying to redeem himself for his father. More so than maybe it's because of the Zeus vision. Because to me, I don't think you can really gauge or understand what's going on in that vision, apart from Kratos telling him exactly what happened. So
Okay.
for me, it has to be that way, is that maybe like, okay, maybe he's learning a little bit now that he's a god. He needs to like temper his himself, because that's what his dad told him.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'll go with that because, yeah, the vision, there isn't too much to, I guess, reach a conclusion to yourself. You do need the help of like understanding that more. So I'll say, yeah, maybe he understands that, or maybe he's also reacting to how Kratos is reacting. Kratos keeps mentioning that vision, right?
Yeah.
So it's obviously haunting him. We knew that, but now Atreus is finally able to see that part of Kratos is haunting him. So maybe he's having a little bit of sympathy for that, right? And just trying to make his father feel better, which is good son moment.
Yeah, okay, let's give him a point there. He hasn't had too many lately. He's
No.
at 6 good son points. So good for him. But yeah, especially how many times Kratos has mentioned the whole situation. He's like, boy, have you seen this? Boy, what you saw. And then Atreus was like, not now, Dad. Come on, let's go. So clearly, like, Kratos is normally a man of little words, but he continually wants to ask him about Atreus.
I know, exactly. And also, I think I'll just put you out there for if they're doing the live action, I think you should definitely be the voice of Kratos if they do like CGI or something like that. But anyways, once we get to the White Mist by the Jotunheim travel door, Atreus unlocks what's inside with his knife.
Well, what have we got?
Some sort of travel stone.
Let me see. Great Aldumlazaras. That's the Unity Stone.
You know it.
I wasn't sure it existed. If Tyr possessed this, that explains how he could visit all the realms and other lands to boot.
He held this in the panel in Odin's library.
Yes. Yes, that's it. I understand now. It shows Tyr walking the realm between realms. You know how you must never stray from the path? Well, Tyr always followed his own path, if you catch my meaning.
The realm between realms.
So we find the Unity Stone, and Mimir spells it out for us pretty much. We have to travel through the realm between realms, and whenever we fast travel, we can't stray the path. But this time, we kind of have to, and as we found out, Tyr also kind of strayed the path, but followed his own path, so technically he didn't stray the path because he was creating his own path. I love how they explain that. It's like, you're breaking the rules, but not really.
We also basically have to do at the beginning of the game when we first learned the fast travel, and I think Mimir or somebody told us that we have to travel the path on the way, and the first thing I did was jump off a cliff to see what would happen, and you literally die in the game. So this time, finally, we can do it, and we won't die in this time.
Yeah, you will not die. Or maybe you will. I don't know. But that completes chapter 13 as we dive into chapter 14. And we have to step off the branches of the world tree and dive into the Mystic Gateway.
This is where Tyr stepped beyond, and the Unity Stone protected him. Ready?
Ready.
Well, if this is it, lads, it's been an honor.
Our faith head.
This is incredible!
Oh, how can I be so nauseous without a stomach?
Come on, that was great.
Look.
The tower. I knew there was something down here.
Amazing! How do you hide something that exists in all realms? Cast it out of any realm to the space between. Clever old Tyr.
Nick, did this bring back traumatic moments for you the first time you jumped off the bridges of the world tree?
No, it didn't. I thought it was really cool. I'm like, okay, so this did have a purpose. Because the whole time through this game, I was wondering, like, does this even have a purpose of jumping off this cliff? And at one point I thought, nah, I think this is just like, you're never supposed to do this. But then we were able to, and it was a super cool cutscene.
Yes, it was. As we, saw, they jump into like this vortex thing. And then we find out that Tyr hid the gate of Jotunheim in the realm between realms, so no one could find it. Such a smart fella. And only those who were worthy would be able to find, obviously, the gate to Jotunheim. Now, through the doors, we drop in the Unity Stone inside of the mechanism, and all hell breaks loose. Tyr's next challenge, obviously, because Tyr's really protecting this, is to defeat endless amounts of enemies. And this really did feel like it was endless and never ending. And it's enemies from each realm, respectively. So we have dark elves, hellwalkers, trolls, and, so on and so forth. We have Dottie and Dottie Mern. Munner?
I
Munner? Oh my
I wrote
God.
that down and I was waiting. Yesterday I was
I
writing
was
this
like,
down and I'm
oh,
just
no.
like,
Oh, no.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Cam to pronounce this.
I know. Nick's just like, I love highlighting these enemies with the names.
They're
for
horrible
Camille.
names. They're so random.
But how'd you find these battles overall?
It was super cool. You realize that like each realm that you've passed through, you're then fighting enemies of each realm. So in Helheim, we see the Hellwalkers, then we see the fire enemies as well, then we see the Dark Elves from Alfheim, and so on and so on. So it's like building towards something. I thought that was really cool. And the different tiers of each enemy, they all have different, obviously, you got the spellcasters, you have the poisonous ones, you have ones that are, melee types, and it's all different. And then you see the giant troll, and you see Dottie Moore, whoever that thing is with a giant pillar. But it I don't know. I love fighting in this game. Like, it just seems it's so well done. The mechanics, and then you can switch from your Leviathan axe to your blades of chaos. And I really like that aspect as well, because I didn't think we'd ever use the blades of chaos again. And to be able to intertwine and switch both and then use special attacks for each. And then each enemy's coming at their own way. Like, you got the Dark Elves who can fly, and also they cast darkness. Like, I don't know. I just doing it all at once. It's super intense, but it's super fun.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's why I had the feeling of like, this is never going to end, because it was very intense, especially with the Dark Elves, because yeah, you're right. They cast that darkness and then you're like, oh, what is going on? I love that exchange as well between the Blades of Chaos and Leviathan. I really love the Blades of Chaos. Like, there's a reason that
So
it's
fun.
the weapon of Kratos and why fans love it so much. It is so much fun to play with. But, each time it looks like we're also traveling to each realm, as we do at the World Tree, which is interesting as well. And then we get to our last stop.
Look, we're back in Midgard. There's the bridge. We did it. The tower's back where it belongs.
Now Tyr's travel room can take us to Jotunheim.
How did Tyr do this?
Odin suspected the giants secretly possessed some remnant of primordial Jotnar creative essence, the stuff all realms were made of. The Unity Stone must have been fashioned from that essence. To trust an outsider with it, even Tyr, tells you just how desperate they were.
All right, so each fight that we did in that room made the tower travel through like different realms until we got to Midgard, which finally gives us this chance to get to Jotunheim, we hope. But Mir also is talking about the giants and their power, and obviously how desperate they were in this situation to trust Tyr to kind of lock up all that power from Odin away. And it's really interesting, because now we're seeing that connection with the giants and Tyr, who is the god of war of Norse mythology. So I feel like this is closer linked to Kratos than we would think, or is now at least becoming linked to Kratos even more.
Is the reason why the giants are all dead because either they faced Odin's wrath, or also they held a power that he wanted? So that's why he was so hell-bent on trying to get that power?
That's what I'm thinking, because it seems like, obviously if they were so desperate, wouldn't you at least give it to another giant? But maybe they knew the end of giants was coming because of the wrath of Odin, and it seems like Odin was really against them. So it's interesting that we know Tyr obviously is not with Odin in terms of his thought process, and that he really did value the giants, right? So I love that we're finding out a lot more about Tyr as well.
Also, I swear to God, if we have to do one more quest because something didn't work to get to Jotunheim, I'm going to lose it, because we have spent the last half of this game doing quests to find Jotunheim because things keep happening that gives us a reason to not get there. So I hope now that we have the tower in Midgard, we can finally do the damn thing.
Well, Nick, you know what? You're going to have to find out on next episode, because that's all the chapters for today. And basically, it's setting us up for, I think, what would be like the meat and potatoes of the ending of the game, which we'll cover in episode 9 and 10. Meat and potatoes now is what I'm going to say, because Nick loves saying meat and potatoes and putting it into the scripts. So
I also love
it even more.
meat and potatoes.
I do love meat and potatoes. So as we are getting closer to the end of our journey with God of War, there is a lot to break down, and we're going to break down these 2 missions right after this break. So considering the previous, episodes, this one was pretty light, I feel like, for our journey through God of War, but it is a necessary one. Although there isn't a lot of, adventure, there is the thing that we unlock in order to get to where we have to be that's leading us to the end of this game. But we learn a lot about Tyr, as I mentioned, throughout the episode. So what are your thoughts on Tyr? He's obviously a big part of this story and is supposed to be dead. He dead. But do you feel like there's more to this story? Because it's like, I feel like he's just such a smart guy. No one would be able to kill him.
There has to be something more to this because Tyr, I would understand if Tyr had a small part to play here, but he's been mentioned in this game so many times that for me, there's got to be, and he's a god, so there are weird rules and laws that apply to gods that may not apply to mortals. So to me, I think, is he really dead? I'm not so sure. And I'm thinking, do we see him at some point? Or what? Or is he actually dead? But I don't buy it at all that he's actually dead.
I agree with you. I think as well as like if Odin was trying to get this power that he knew the giants had, he knew Tyr had because Tyr was trying to hide this thing. Why would you kill him if you still don't possess that power? You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, do you think he faked his death?
Maybe. Oh, maybe. Ooh, maybe. Oh, I like that. Maybe. But I will say, I feel like Tyr is like the Batman of Norse mythology. He has a contingency plan for everything. So he probably, maybe we'll, near the end of the game, we'll lead ourselves to Tyr because he has a contingency plan against Odin. And then we'll be able to use that to defeat Odin and Thor and all of the Norse gods. But that's just my theory. Obviously, we are far from that ending and knowing if that is true. But if it is true, I feel like AutoSave, the crew here, owes me a huge cake of congratulations. You definitely hit that one.
A huge congratulations cake. Nice yes, bartering skills.
Yes. I didn't really barter. I just said it's going to happen.
Okay. Right.
But chapter 13 is where you can indeed unlock the Niflheim realm. We talked briefly about the last episode, and that realm and the Muspelheim are 2 good places to get the best gear ever and get a bunch of hack silver and XP to unlock everything if you want to. But if you're like me and want to continue on with the story, well, then you should listen here on AutoSave because there is a lot to do in order for us to get to that ending. But before we end this episode today, is there anything else you want to add, Nick?
Just that I spent a lot of time in Niflheim. So
I knew it.
We can talk about it maybe in episode 10.
Yeah.
But I might have, really geared up Kratos so much that the rest of the game became super easy for me.
Oh, no, Nick. Oh, you know what? I think that's also why, or at least I'm going to put it out there as to that's why I don't like to do the exploring. I like a little bit of challenge with my story. I like my story with a side of challenge, Nick, and I don't like to.
Are you
just trying to make myself
me?
feel better. I feel so guilty that I'm not, grinding the game like you are. But yeah.
No, but I shouldn't be doing that. But it's just for me, it's like I see something, I'm like, I want it.
Oh, okay.
I'll grind to get it. That's all.
It is precious. And this game is obviously precious to us, so we're going to have to continue this story as we go along on our journey through Midgard in God of War 2018. So continue to follow along the journey with us on the next episode of AutoSave.